We are recording.
Hi everyone, I'm Tay.
Hi, this is Anna.
And this is episode 2 of Two Bimbos Sayin' Shit. And today we have our very good friend, Miss Lauryn, on the show with us. Hello, Miss Lauryn.
Hello.
Lauryn, do you want to give a little introduction to yourself and kind of introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, my name is Lauren, and I'm a fat bitchy lesbian, and I think that's all there is to me.
Excellent. What are your pronouns?
She, her, or they, them, actually.
Okay, great, fantastic. Well,
what's your zodiac sign?
This is important.
Capricorn.
Lauren and I are both Capricorns. I'm very excited to have Miss Lauryn with us because Lauren and I have been very good friends for a long time. We've known each other for a long time. And I think that Lauren can bring a lot to the show this week. So I'm very happy to have her.
I'm very happy to be here.
Sorry, before we start, I just want to bring up Tay and I have a Google Docs open that has our little outline for our podcast today. And at the top, I forgot I put, Tay, you smell like poo-poo. And under it, you put, wow, okay, Anna, you little bimbo shitter.
I actually forgot to, and now that you say that, I'm taking a look at it. It's very funny. Also, talking about the itinerary, I just want to say that the first thing on our itinerary for today says, why is Crazy Frog's wiener out?
Why is Crazy Frog's wiener out?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I remember talking about this or bringing it up when we were going over things to talk about, and I didn't know that Crazy Frog's wiener was out. And I remember saying, no one show me. I want to save my live reaction for the podcast. So do you think that now would be a good time for me to see why Crazy Frog's wiener is out?
Yes.
Yeah, I really don't think we need any more introductions to this. I think we should just run full force into it.
I just sent it to you.
Oh, good.
Okay, great. Here we go. My live... Hold on. Isn't he...
Anna, you sent it to me too.
Okay.
I thought that his, I thought he was like a kid's...
Need a refresher.
I thought he was like a kid's, song or whatever. Am I wrong?
Isn't he?
Wait, what?
Yeah, he is. He sang, well, no, he did a cover of the Axel F song, and his dick was out the whole time, which I think...
Are you joking?
This is not a joke. Crazy Frog's wiener is just out there.
Just out there. Dick out.
No fucks
Holy
given.
shit. I knew what Crazy Frog looked like, but I didn't know his dick was out, I guess. So this is compelling information. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
I kind of hate it.
What do you do with any sort of information? We just kind of try to forget it.
I hate it. I really hate it.
Bold.
Who designed him? I need to know.
I think the Germans.
Wait, really?
I don't know if that's true at all, so maybe look that up.
Who made Crazy Frog? Eric Warnkist. Crazy Frog, originally known as The Annoying Thing, is a Swedish CGI animated character and musician created in 2003 by actor and playwright Eric Warnkist.
Musician. I think
originally known as The Annoying Thing.
I think that's a liberal description.
I like how it's a previous name is really vague. It kind of reminds me of Michael Myers and how his other name is The Shape.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Why do they call him The Shape? That makes me think that he shapeshifts, which he doesn't.
Oh, okay, so I don't know if it's actually connected to this. I'm just going to be throwing an educated guess out there. But originally, the Halloween series was supposed to be like an anthology where they were going to cover like different, I think, murderers or different like horror characters through each one. But then people just liked Michael Myers. And so I think that's why he was originally known as like The Shape, because like each of them were going to have different names.
That's actually super interesting. I didn't know that. I don't know how long it's been since we all watched the Halloween movie. I don't think we talked about it on the first episode last week, but
No.
I just want everyone to know that Lauren, Anna, and I, and our friend Vicky, we all watched the original Halloween from 1978 recently together on Discord. And I don't watch a lot of scary movies because I get scared easily. And I convinced myself to watch this one because it's from 1978. How scary can it be, you know? And I just want to throw out there that may be the worst movie I've ever watched in my life. It was bad.
Oh my god, I burped up my Takis. I'm sorry. No, you're right. It's terrible.
The pacing was awful. I feel like nothing happened the entire 2 hours. And I also am confused about how that was a horror movie in the 70s. I guess times really have changed.
Of it all, what I thought was really shocking was that as I was watching it, I had the distinct feeling that I was watching a movie made by high schoolers. And then I had to realize that this was like a major production film.
Yeah.
People saw it in like theaters, I assume, and shit. And I'm like, wow.
What are
This is
some other
really
iconic
terrible.
horror movies that were made in the 70s? I'm trying to figure out if pacing is similar in all of them.
Well,
I
someone
think
told
Friday
me.
the 13th came out around like the 80s, so I'm not sure.
Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking that up, I don't know. But I was going to say that someone told me that I guess the limitations for the horror genre were a lot different back then. Like they were only allowed to show a certain amount of blood or something like that. I don't know if that's true. Maybe someone can correct me, but that someone told me that after we watched it, and then it made me go back and think about like the kind of things that were shown in the movie. And I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't know. They said that, and then like Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, and then everything changed or something like that. I'm not like I said, I'm not like a horror movie connoisseur, so I'm not exactly sure, but
I think it's a little interesting because movies like Carrie and Suspiria came out in the 70s as well.
okay. Yeah, and that's obviously, I've never seen Carrie, but we all know Carrie. That's a lot of blood on that one scene.
Yeah.
They also
okay.
sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Both of those movies also came out before Halloween, which came out in 1978.
I see.
What year did Carrie come out?
Carrie came out in 1976, and then Suspiria came out in 1977.
Very much like to say Carrie, or like talk about Carrie for a second. I know that movie very well. As far as like comparatively to Halloween, Carrie does have a lot more going on. One, fast paced. Two, like the nudity's more. Three, I feel like there's more blood. Like you see her kill her mom. You see the knives fly into her. Whereas like I feel like Mr. Michael Myers was a little bitch about everything.
I was only watching for the scene where his mask came off.
Michael Myers a little bitch, confirmed.
Confirmed. Got nothing on Carrie.
At least not the 1976 version.
Does
That's
anyone
true.
have anything else to add about movies?
I don't know too much about Suspiria, but I will say the pacing and
I've never heard of that movie.
In Suspiria, I believe was a lot more than how Halloween
Is that like a
was
famous
paced.
movie? I've never heard of
it. Hold on, let me check. I believe it's an Italian movie, but I can't be too sure.
I think you're right.
I don't think it's too well known. It's like one of those cult classic type movies.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, look at this. In the 2018 version, Dakota Johnson is in it. I don't know if any of you know who Dakota Johnson is.
I don't.
Oh,
I'm
stupid. For a second. I was like, that's not right.
Dakota Johnson is the actress from 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh. I'm still getting over the fact that Halloween had Jamie Lee Curtis.
Who was the woman that you guys kept talking about that you were confusing with someone else?
It wasn't
Okay,
us. It was
Just say you guys, because I was not the one confused here. Taylor was. Second of all, I was telling Taylor very excitedly when I was watching Scream Queens the first time that Jamie Lee Curtis is there. And Taylor goes, yeah, well, she couldn't finish Zoe 101, could she? And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And a silence goes between us. And then Taylor goes, I was thinking of Jamie Lynn Spears.
Oh my god.
And I was like, so you confused the Activia lady with Britney Spears' younger sister.
Oh my god, I completely forgot Jamie Lee Curtis does Activia commercials.
She be buying yogurt.
She be buying yogurt. She be getting me to buy yogurt.
I know, I do be think about, ooh, Activia.
Is
That's
now a
fine.
good time
I
for
like
me
the
to bring up the convention story since we're telling embarrassing stories about each other?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. One time, Lauren and I went to an anime convention in Chicago, and for reference, the voice actor that we were in line, he was doing signings. He was the voice actor for a character in a game called Persona 5. He voices what's one of his main roles, like the Resident Evil series or something like that?
Yeah, he replaced the guy who originally plays Wesker.
Okay. DC Douglas. I don't know if I said his name, but that's his name. And
DC Douglas?
yes.
Okay.
And Lauren, I wouldn't necessarily, she thinks the character that DC Douglas voices in Persona is attractive. She just really liked him, I guess. And I don't know. Or something weird. We made fun of her. She didn't necessarily like him, but we just made fun of her for it anyway.
There was an angle in a comic, and listen, I love guys that have dark curly hair and large chins usually. And I was like, he could get it in this image. He's an awful person.
And me and our other friend Dave, we were like just giving her shit for it because it was funny. And so anyway, we're in line for his signing at this convention. He's a very nice guy, and he had these prints laid out with like different characters that he voices. You know, you could pick one for him to sign or whatever. So it's finally our turn, and he's like, "Oh, hey, how you guys doing? Whatever." And he goes, which print were you guys interested in me signing? And Lauren literally cuts this man off, and she goes, Kamoshida! Basically spits on this man. And there's like a moment of silence, and it took everything in me not to fucking bust out laughing. Because I couldn't believe what I had just witnessed.
I think my favorite part is I was not there to get the signing. Taylor knows him from like other games. I just know him from Persona 5. I wasn't supposed to open my mouth at all, and yet the excitement of seeing the man in person.
Well, I think actually, wasn't he the one where we were like sitting in like because the convention, it was set up, there was that big giant room that had like Artist Alley and the vendors, and then there was a section of that room where the signings and stuff were happening at certain times. They had their table set up, and then there was on the other side of the room there was like this cafeteria area with a bunch of tables and stuff for people to sit down. So we were sitting down at one of the tables, and we were like, and this was my first convention, I just want to point that out, so I was really excited. This was back in like 2017, I think, or something, and I think I might be remembering incorrectly, but we were sitting at one of those tables, and we were like, no, we're not gonna get in line. We're just gonna sit over here and watch, I guess, or something. I don't know. And then like the second we saw him, we were like, yeah, let's go get in line. We immediately changed our mind. We're like, this is too cool. We're not gonna sit here. We're gonna go get in line. That's also the convention that we met Billy West at, I think, which is super cool.
And who's Billy West?
I think that was the next year's convention, Tay.
Was it? I can't remember. Yeah. Lauren, you can describe Billy West. You know more about him than I do.
Oh, Billy West he's a voice actor. For me, he is most well known. He voices Philip J. Fry as well as a myriad of other characters in Futurama, which I grew up watching with my dad. It has a lot of personal significance to me. And so we met him. He also voices, just within Futurama, he voices Zoidberg, as well as the captain, whose name I can't remember, Zach Brannigan.
The blonde one?
Yeah, the blonde one. That's him. He also works a lot with Tom Kenny. And so I just adore Billy West as a person. He's very funny. Meeting him, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I grew up watching you with my dad. Absolutely.
It was very sweet to watch you interact with him, I thought, because I knew like how much it meant to you. And I stood in line with her. And it was very nice to watch.
He also, commonly, he's done the voice of Bugs Bunny since LeBlanc died. So he picked up a lot of those roles, like in Space Jam. I know he did it.
The old
as well
Space
as some
Jam
other
or
things.
new Space Jam?
There's a new Space Jam.
Yeah, there's a new Space Jam?
Yeah, they're gonna come out with a new Space Jam.
I've never even seen the original.
Have you not seen all the buzz about Lola Bunny's redesign?
No.
Oh my goodness.
I did, but I just like I guess I blocked it out of my head because I wasn't happy with it either.
I haven't seen it.
Lauren.
They took away her titties.
Oh. Wait, let me Google this really quick.
I got it. I'll send it to you.
Okay, thanks.
There you go.
Because I know what Lola Bunny looks. I've just never seen. Oh. Huh.
The silence.
I didn't know that they were remaking Space. I've never seen the original, but like I know about it. It's like one of the most well-known movies ever.
I'm just looking at pictures of Lola Bunny now. Anyways.
I like that right above the picture of Lola Bunny, there's this crazy frog with his dick out in my DMs between me and Anna. That's funny. Anyway, yeah, so Billy West, he's like I don't feel like a lot of people know his name, but he is like, he does a lot of stuff that people are like, you've definitely heard him somewhere.
He voiced Shaggy in Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island because the voice actor who originally voices like Shaggy was having this is actually an interesting story I just read about the other day. He is a vegetarian and he was like talking about like Zoink's hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff for Shaggy, and then he's like, why does Shaggy always eat meat? And he genuinely like was conflicted and upset about it and didn't want to voice Shaggy for the movie, so they just brought in Billy West and had him do it instead.
Interesting. You know what's funny about that movie, now that you bring that up, that I kind of just want to say? I watched the Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island movie recently, like a couple months ago for the first time, and there was a voice in it that I recognized. I cannot remember the name of the character it was. He was like hang on, I can find it really quick, but I'll do that while I'm talking.
Hamill? Was it the guy that was voiced by Mark Hamill?
No.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
Oh,
was it
the boat guy?
It was
Cajun guy.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I don't know. I don't remember his name. I'm gonna find it. But anyway, he was voiced by a voice actor. He was a younger guy. Okay. Not the actor, but the character in the movie. He wasn't like an old Detective Bo Neville. Yeah, it was the detective. Yeah. Okay, so I was watching that movie, and it's really funny because one of my favorite games in the world is this game called Tales of Symphonia, which is this old JRPG that came out in like 2001 for the GameCube. Okay, and one of the voice actors in that game voices one of my favorite characters, and I don't know a ton of other stuff he voices in. Besides, there's he voices a character in like Eternal Sonata. He doesn't voice a whole lot of stuff. I don't think anymore. He used to back in the day, but anyway. I was watching. Mm-hmm.
He's a voice in Monster High.
Yeah, so he does a lot of like TV, I guess, but I know him from games, and I was watching the movie recently, and I was like, his voice sounds like Kratos from Tales of Symphonia. I was like, this is really bugging me. And at the time, I was also playing through that game for the 25,000th time. So it was like a weird coincidence. But I looked it up and I was like, God damn, it's the same voice actor. It's so fucking funny that I was just happened to be watching that movie and playing through my favorite game of all time, and I caught his voice or something. I don't know. I just thought it was weird.
I want to know who he voices in Monster High.
His name is Cam Clark. I don't think I said his name. But I don't. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
No, I was pretty much done.
I was gonna say the boat guy he's the ferryman. He's the only character in that movie that has a legitimate Cajun accent because he was the only one that could pull off the Cajun accent. His name, I don't remember the actor's name off the top of my head, but he is the original voice of Winnie the Pooh and or the snake in the Jungle Book.
That's interesting.
Just incredible. Yeah, I love him so much. It was really funny. I guess Tara Strong is in that movie as well, and they were gonna have her do a Cajun accent, and she couldn't. And they tried to have her. She does like a Southern accent in the movie, and it's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Really? Something Tara Strong can't do? Incredible.
Yeah. I don't know if she's learned how to do it since then, but
yeah, because this movie came out in 1998, so it's pretty old at this point. I didn't realize it was that old.
Okay, so I'm looking him up, and apparently he was also Shotaro Kaneda from Akira, I assume in the English dub.
Right.
And then he was also Leonardo and Rocksteady from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He-Man from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe in 2002. Dean Collins from Witch. I don't know if any of you remember Witch.
No.
It was the Jetix show from Disney. Anyways, he also voiced Simba in Kingdom Hearts 2. And this is my favorite part. He has singing portions in The Lion King 2.
Lauren, you played Eternal Sonata, didn't you?
Yes, I did actually. I was the one who had introduced it to Jake.
Oh, interesting. He voiced Prince Crescendo in that game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also have
interesting.
The Monster High characters that he voiced.
Go on.
One is Bram Devins, or Bram Devane, spelt like vein, like your arm vein.
Of course.
Who is a vampire. Next, he voices one of the kind of main characters, Heath Burns.
I don't know anything about Monster High.
That's okay. That's okay. Heath Burns is basically the flame guy from Fantastic Four.
I see.
And then he voices a voodoo doll named Hoodooed Voodoo.
Hoodooed. That's a good name.
That was all. That was all I wanted to bring up. I don't know if it's obvious, but I really love Monster High.
Let's move on, I guess, to Lauren. Hi.
Hi.
Would you like to, going off of our episode from last week, do you have any experiences you would like to talk about identifying as a woman? Because Lauren, I don't know if we talked about it, is also an avid video game player. So I wasn't sure if there's anything you would like to particularly talk about or bring a light to.
So I will be honest. I up until 2016, I had never played online multiplayer video games because of just the general misogyny that I had personally experienced when interacting with men who play video games. Because it was always a lot of either like erasure through dumb stuff, because it was like early 2000s, don't get me wrong, and stuff like that when I was younger. But it was a lot of like, oh, I've never met a girl who plays video games. Or like once they found out I play video games, they were suddenly like, oh, I really like you. And I'm like, you don't really know me. You just know I like video games.
Yeah.
So always very much made me feel objectified and just kind of like lesser than. But once I got Overwatch, I remember I actually texted you and I was like, hey, would you play with me? And you said yes. And I really like the design of things, so I got it. And I remember trying really hard to join voice chats back whenever I first got the game, and I would a lot, and I was really anxious. And I remember very distinctly there was a comp match I played, and you were there with me. I was playing Mercy, and the Zarya on our team had been dying a lot. We were losing, and decided that it was my fault, and maybe it was in retrospect. I don't really know. I was fairly new to the game. But he blamed me over everybody else and ripped into me so hard that I very audibly started crying. To the point where other people on the team started stepping in, but that guy was like, no, she deserves to hear this, and was just like outward mean. And I'm going to be real, I do not join public voice chats anymore. It was an awful experience. And I know like some people are going to listen to this and they're going to be like, well, that, you know, like you can't base everything off the future, off that one experience, but like,
but that's how it is.
Yeah, it changed me so much, because I was like, okay, and it wasn't like a one-off thing. I also got a message one time after a comp match that we had lost, and somebody, they didn't say anything, they added me to the group chat and then changed the name of the group chat to like Fat Ugly Bitch.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I wasn't even in voice chat in that game at all. That's just what it's like.
Yep, that's just what it's like. And in retrospect, literally, it's just a game. Like, I don't understand how people can be like so disgusting over like a video. And like, I know not everyone thinks like this, obviously, but like, you're gonna lose games. You're not gonna win every game. You know what I mean? So like, the fact that you lash out like that when you do lose toward other people on your team just really, to me, speaks a lot. But yeah, you're right. That is what it's like. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that, because it's not to say that like people don't get frustrated with video games. I have been there. I've said some very mean things to very many people, but I do not say it to them over voice chat where they can hear it. I have wished sexual like impotence on people, but not to them.
That's fair.
If I ever said that to a human being, I would be so upset with myself. Like, lashing out is whatever. Your emotions are valid for the, you know, like, yeah, your emotions are valid, but you cannot take it out on those people. These are just random people playing a video game with you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I actually want to backtrack real quick. The person who changed the chat name to Fat Nasty, like Fat Ugly Bitch, I actually remember messaging that guy. And it got to a really weird point where I was like, I'm not going to defend myself anymore. And I was just like, yeah, I guess I am really gross. And he was like, yeah, you're awful and disgusting, and kept saying awful things to me and slurs. And I would just report every message that he sent.
And that guy doesn't even know you.
No.
He had no idea what you sounded like, what you looked like. And regardless of if he did, obviously that would still be an awful thing to say to someone. But like, he didn't know anything about you. It's the thing.
There are no words.
There are no words. Also, Anna, I don't know if I told you this, but I don't know if you remember I'm sure you do remember the other day when we were playing Overwatch. I don't remember what happened. I think someone on our team was just being like gross, and they called you a slut in the team chat. I reported that person, and it came back, and they told me that my report had been, actions had been taken or whatever.
Oh, yay.
So yeah, the other day Anna and I were playing, and I don't remember exactly what happened. If you remember, let me know.
They were a Reinhardt, and they kept charging into the entire team alone, and then they would
and then blaming heals. Yeah, and then I think he said something, and Anna typed in the chat like, "Shut the fuck up! You're literally charging into their team 1v6 or something." And then he was like, "You're a slut." Like, it just started calling her
slut right. He spelled like SLOT, I think, and I don't know if that's just to avoid being reported or something.
Well, he still got reported because I reported him. And
good times.
Apparently it worked. So
we love.
Yeah, that was just like the other day. It was like, I don't know, 3-4 days ago.
That was literally like what, 3 days after the podcast, and when it happened, we were like, "Oh, this will be fun to talk about in the next episode."
I also want to bring this up. I told Anna about this, but I was playing some competitive games with our friend Mooney, and we just played like 3 games because it was like I had just gotten off work and I was really tired, and I didn't want to play too long, but I did want to play a little bit. And the very first game we load into, I queued up for tank and support, and I ended up getting support, and I clicked on Mercy, and I wasn't in voice chat. As soon as I clicked on Mercy, someone, I wanted to take a screenshot of the chat, but it was already gone by the time the game was over, so I couldn't. But someone in the team chat said in all caps, "Mercy, are you a girl?" And I just didn't answer. And then when I didn't answer, they said, "Hello?" ? I was like, I'm not going to answer this person. This person's a freaking weirdo. But yeah. Mercy, are you a girl?
Overwatch.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I messaged Anna about it, and she was like, "You should have asked them if they were a girl." And I should have. You're right.
Yeah, you should have started just overloading them with personal questions about who they are. See how they like it.
I don't understand how that's relevant to the game, but okay. What does me being a girl have to do with the game we're playing? I just need to know.
Over.
Obviously,
The
it's
other day
because
that
women
I-
can't play video games.
Oh, of course. I remember I got a message recently from somebody, and I'm trying to remember who, but it was the one where they had like tried to insult me or something, and I just went like, I don't know, I'm a lesbian, goodbye. And he was like, what?
It was the Dead by Daylight guy. You were playing Dead by Daylight, and they were getting on you for playing Spirit, and they were like, can't believe you're paying for the game or paying for a killer character or something like that. And then they were like, shut the fuck up, you like anime or something. Because you had a Persona character, I believe, as your icon.
My icon is Futaba from Persona, yeah, and he was like, you like anime? And I was like, what? I've never watched an episode, which is not entirely true, but I haven't watched it in a few years.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you're an avid anime watcher.
No, not at all. And so he was like, what is that? That's a cartoon? I was like, I don't know, dude, I'm a lesbian. What? And he was like, why did you bring that up, though? And he got so weirded out, and he didn't message me anymore, and I was like, I don't know, you're throwing weird personal accusations. I thought I'd give you a fun fact.
You want to make it personal? Let's make it personal.
Yeah, like, we're having a conversation now. You wanted to know so much about me.
Literally, all of this has happened in like the last week, too. I love that. I love that for us.
God, it feels like time has just gone by since the first episode. I feel like it's been months since we recorded it, but it was literally just last week, like you said.
Yeah, it was. Incredible.
I'm also really glad you brought that up, Lauren, because I was going to ask if you could.
Yeah. Yeah, I remembered. I was like, wait a second, that was hilarious.
I think about that a lot.
I told Anna about this, but a couple days ago I was streaming and I had this guy come into my chat.
Oh, the one that added you on like Twitter or something?
Yeah, that followed me on Twitter, which is fine because I plug my Twitter into my like about me section on Twitch, so I don't care. But he came into my chat and he was like, I like your profile picture. And my profile picture on Twitch is just a picture of me. And I was like, oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Or something. Like, I wasn't rude about it. I was just like, oh, thank you. And then he was like, I'm going to follow you on Twitter. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Thank you. And then in my chat, like right after that, he goes, you look so good. And I was like, thanks. And like was really weird about it. And then I had this post on my Twitter account that was I posted on International Women's Day, just like talking about it. And he replied to it and he said, love this, and then put like the fire emoji. And I was like, if you love it so much, then shut the fuck up.
If you love it so much, my Cash App is dead tired. The one eye is a 1.
That probably sounds really bitchy, but like, please don't come into women's Twitch chats and comment on like how you think they look, regardless of if you think it's positive or not, because it's really uncomfortable.
Not to mention, it felt very obvious that they were just trying to like DM
hit on me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure people are gonna listen to that and be like, women really can't take compliments, but like,
it's just
if I'm streaming on Twitch, I don't want you to comment on my appearance. Like, I mean, obviously it's different. Like, I should word it differently, but it's like you can tell what people's motives are, and it's just like really uncomfortable. Like, if my friend comes into my chat and they're like, "Oh my god, you look so good today," obviously that's different than some random dude coming into my chat, following me on Twitter and saying, "You look so good. I love your profile picture," and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? There's a difference.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to comment on somebody's looks like that, what my tip to men out there who don't know how to approach this and are afraid of approaching it is don't be fucking weird, for one. But two, don't just be like, wow, you're so, like, you look good, or like, you're so pretty. Like, comment something about the person.
If you're so concerned about, like, if his goal was to, like, for me to talk to him or whatever, you really didn't have to comment on my appearance at all. You could have just had a conversation with me without bringing anything about that up. You know what I mean? I would have been more inclined to talk to you.
Absolutely. And I know I am compelled as a woman lover to compliment women all day long. I will show up and I'll be like, wow, your hair looks really nice. Or like, wow, I love blah, blah, blah. It's something they choose to do, not something about them. That way it's like, oh, cool. Like they could choose their hair color for the, unless it's like, you know, natural, whatever. But like they choose how to do their hair for the most part, or like the clothes that they're wearing, stuff like that. Don't like be like, fuck it, your eyes are so pretty. Like, quit. Okay, cool. Turn to the camera.
Yeah.
Speaking of camera,
Anyway.
I ordered my new webcam for streaming today.
Ooh.
Excellent. Did you buy the same one I use?
Yeah.
Very cool. It is a good camera. Mine just looks like shit because my PC sucks. But speaking of that, I got my stimulus today, and I'm thinking about ordering that PC.
Yay!
Yep. And I'm gonna give Lauren this one so she can play games with us. Facts. Facts.
I'm going to be very bad at them. I'm very excited.
That's okay. We don't care. We're bad at games too. We're women.
Yeah, of course. I need a man to come along and show me what to do.
Oh man, I think it's time to bring up that tutorial on what the M1 button does again.
So we're pulling up our friend Vicky's email. So in last week's episode, we said that if anyone had any experiences that they would like shared on the podcast, anonymous or not, that they could email us, which I'll just go ahead and plug our email since we're talking about it. Fuck it.
Can I do it?
Yes, go right ahead, Miss Anna.
Yes. If you'd like to email us about any of your experiences, anonymous or not, you can email us at bigtittyladies@hotmail.com. That is
You want to spell that?
BIGTITTYLADIES at HOTMAIL.com.
Exactly. That's our email. So
That's
yeah,
my
feel free
favorite
to
thing
email
to
us. Feel free to email us if you have anything. We will definitely leave you anonymous if you would like. That's not an issue at all. For
Just
this
make sure
case,
to state it in the email.
yeah, if you don't state it, we're gonna leave you anonymous because we don't want to, dox anyone or anything like that without their consent. So, this email that we're gonna go over here is from our friend Vicky. She's a good friend of ours in the community. She did give us permission to read her email on the podcast and talk about it. So that is what Miss Anna is gonna do. She's gonna start us off.
All right, here is the email. I'm going to start it now. Hi, my name is Vicky, longtime listener, first-time emailer. I play games mostly on the Switch now, like Smash Bros. Ultimate, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and even games like Doom 2016 multiplayer. There are other games on the PC I play, but they're mostly single player. I am sending this email to talk about my experiences as a woman playing video games. I apologize if this ends up being very long or sad. I'm just detailing my experiences over the years with predominantly online games. An important thing for me to note, me being Vicky, is that I am a trans woman. I figured this out around the same time I started playing multiplayer games on PC back when I was about 12 or 13. The community surrounding the multiplayer games were so toxic, not only to women in general, but trans women particularly. I do not even want to name the game I am going to talk about out of fear of community retaliation, and if you know what game I'm talking about, I implore you not to mention it. That community was and is still today so incredibly toxic. While I usually kept to myself in-game and never talked to people I wasn't friends with, some of the comments I heard over voice chat were so disgusting. People would have arguments continuously about women saying shit like they don't deserve rights or worse, and trans women especially were treated like shit. Reducing us down to either gross men or worse would fetishize us and refer to us as slurs because they get off to it. It was miserable, and after sinking in so many hours into the game, I had had enough, and I stopped playing Cold Turkey. For a second, I thought Cold Turkey was the name of the game, but I think that's
No.
a saying.
It's not.
Sorry. Anyways, back to the email. Since then, I have distanced myself from anything relating to the games community. It is a shame because I adore the game with all my heart, and I still hold it with high regards as one of my most favorite games ever. I cannot force myself to play it anymore due to how bad the community is. Even with moving over to playing on the Switch now, there are some bad people I come across. I've encountered at least 3 people in Splatoon 2 so far that had the F slur as their usernames. That sucks a lot, especially for me who's been called that a lot specifically over the years because I am trans. I usually just block and report them, but I can't help but feel bothered by it. I hope this email shed some light on some of my experiences. It is only a handful of examples from over the years because if I tried to list out all of them, this email would be way too long. But there have been a lot of kind and sweet people over the years who have been genuinely nice to me without making fun of me or calling me slurs for being trans. It's those experiences that I hold close to me because focusing on the positive helps me alleviate the negatives. Hope you all have a good day, stay safe, and shout out to Tay and Anna for being the coolest people on earth. Oh, your friend Vicky.
So, thank you, Vicky, first of all, for sending us an email. I appreciate you letting us talk about this on the podcast. And the first thing I want to say after hearing that is, as cisgender women, obviously, you guys have heard our experiences and kind of what it's like, but none of that we can relate to or understand what it's like being
trans women.
Yeah, none of that can even come close, I imagine, to what it's like being a trans woman. Obviously, I'll never be able to say I understand what it's like because I won't ever understand that. But I can imagine that it is super not easy, obviously. That's just kind of something I wanted to throw out there that, you know, it's different experiences, but it's the same.
You sympathize or empathize?
Yeah, because it's not anything that I or Anna or even Lauren would ever be able to understand as people that, you know, aren't trans. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Like, it's one thing being a cisgendered woman on the internet, and then it's an entirely different battlefield for trans women.
Yeah, definitely. Even like I know there's some trans, like open trans women on Twitch that I follow. Either they are in the Overwatch community or they had been at one point and now they play other things. But I can see
just for context really quick, Vicky never mentions what the community is, and Overwatch has nothing to do with it as far as I know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, sorry if there was any confusion there.
You were just stating that the streamer
for reference, yeah. There's two streamers that I can think of that were or they are or they were at one point like Overwatch community streamers and identified as trans women. And just reading Vicky's email and comparing the things that Vicky said to things I've seen and their chats or things they've talked about on their Twitter accounts, it all comes together and it all happens. You know what I mean? Like it's real stuff that does happen. So, and I would say mostly from men or, you know, just awful things said to trans women, as Vicky said in her email, being referred to as gross men, which makes me sick to my stomach just thinking about that. So kind of gross.
Very gross.
Gross.
Imagine putting a whole slur in your username as if you couldn't get reported on site for that.
Or thinking it's funny or something.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Like, not
extremely
to mention...
gross. If you're doing that, stop it.
Yeah. Not to mention, there's this, like, idea or trope with the Switch that, like, a lot of younger people use it, which I would say is kind of true.
Or families, like, it's, like, direct, like, for families or something, you know, like, you see a lot of people...
and you're putting that out there to underage people who will learn that and see that or ask about it, and it sucks.
I didn't think about that actually, but that's a very good point. Anything you'd like to add, Miss Lauren?
Sorry. So I obviously also do not have a lot of experience, no experience as a trans woman, and I never will. But I have dated a trans woman who was very much in the gaming community, and she echoed a lot of the same sentiments that Vicky did as well. As well as my current girlfriend, who just does not even bother with voice chat at all. She's also a trans woman. She will not get into game chats. She just refuses to even put up with it. And so, yeah, for like her own safety, and I think that's incredibly valid of her to do. But it is so sad that like and it's not even the gaming community, because society as a whole is still so like coming to terms with like trans people and stuff like that. And like I would like to say it's getting better, but every day there's things that are not. And it's just like it's sad that trans women and trans people in general have such a hard time finding their own communities, especially like with their hobbies, things like gaming. Like Vicky said, she played that game, and now she does not feel comfortable playing it anymore, and that is just, it is truly heartbreaking.
Yep, I agree.
Not to mention, sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just gonna say it's really heartbreaking that that trans people can't have the same gaming experience that you know, like cisgender people could have because of things like this. And especially like Lauren said, like things that are their hobbies that they have to give up or can't
partake in.
Yeah, because of that. That's just awful. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Anna. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. I just wanted to state that this transphobia usually extends, or it grows, and it affects the game development as well. Like game devs, once they realize, or once the trans community in certain games starts to lessen, game devs start to care a little less about said communities, so they don't do much about it. And it also affects the amount of representation in like different medias, because there's less trans people in a community to state their experiences, to bring to show game devs or media what it's like being trans, so they can't put more trans people in games and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I hadn't thought about it that way, so I'm glad that you brought that up. It's a good thing to think about.
Yeah, like these actions do a lot more than hurt
than what
people.
You realize. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
exactly.
I mean, hurting people alone for nothing, for their own, for who they are, is already bad enough, but it adds to the erasure.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm glad that you said that.
And equally, like with the erasure, it also I feel like it's just like important to note that it will lead to like misrepresentation as well. Like I know people were very, very excited for things like cyberpunk. Yeah. And in that game there was just certain things where like if you're a trans woman you can't like date, I think, like women or something like that, or something along those lines. And it's just like this all could have been prevented if we had consulted any trans people.
Yeah, I heard that. Well, I didn't play the game obviously, but I know a lot of people were very excited about it, and then I remember hearing things about there being some questionable takes or bad representation in it as well. So I had definitely heard that as well, Lauren.
To bring up the gender binary in video games, around the same time that Cyberpunk was getting hype for coming out, I don't remember which Call of Duty game, but there was an option to put yourself as non-binary, and there was a lot of talk about that because people were like, why does it matter what gender you are?
Oh my god.
And it's like, okay, so
I actually hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, but it matters that you can put yourself as a man in the game. Understandable. Have a nice day.
Isn't there an Assassin's Creed game where you can play as a woman? The newest one?
The last two, actually.
The last two? I don't remember exactly which game it was, but I remember there were people that were pissed about the main character being a woman as opposed to like the male that they were used to.
The not the most recent one, but the one like the most recent one is like where you're Viking, and then the one prior to that I think is like set in it. I don't know.
I can double check.
Thank you. I don't want to misspeak.
Ass,
but I
Ends
remember
Creed.
there was a lot of backlash about just there being an option of a woman at all, and then I remember they also messed it up when they would release DLC, where if you played as the woman, they force you to be heterosexual.
Oh, really?
It was Odyssey.
Odyssey. Okay, yeah. I was like, is it like Greek? But then I was like, I won't speak.
Interesting.
I think it is Greek because you're a Spartan hero.
Yeah, and the
In the
the
game's
Odyssey about
terms.
like the Iliad, whatnot. The Cyclops. Oh, brother, where art thou? I don't know the actual story of the Odyssey. I really only know Oh, brother, where art thou?
I'm taking a Greek humanities class right now.
Oh,
I just
I
wanted
love
to
this.
relate to the game. That was all.
Yeah, but that
The
was just something
Greeks,
I wanted to
man.
bring up because I remember whenever it was going on, I remember hearing about it, and then the topic kind of ceased. So I felt like it was kind of relevant to the conversation, so I just kind of wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, yeah. Oh, wasn't
Vicky,
there also?
if you're listening, I love you.
Yes, Miss Vicky, we do love you.
Mwah.
Wasn't there also more recently news coming out about a new Grand Theft Auto game where you play as a woman?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That there was a little bit of backlash about. I think I'm remembering that correctly.
Let me check. Grand Theft Auto, I think that's 6 VI, will feature both a male and female protagonist.
I see. I remember seeing something about that as well. Very interesting. I don't think I've ever played a Grand Theft Auto game in my life.
I couldn't. I tried to, but I got in trouble. I was like 12 when I wanted to.
You know, funny. My dad was the one who played Grand Theft Auto and showed me all the cheat codes and stuff.
I remember my brother playing like Vice City
Excuse me.
all the time growing up, like on the PS2.
I think that was my dad's favorite as well, actually.
Really? I remember, this is so funny too, now that I'm saying this, I remember watching my brother play it, and like at the time, like thinking it like looked graphically really good, and now if you look up Grand Theft Auto Vice City, it looks like fucking garbage because it's so old. At the time, I'm gonna do that really quick. I'm gonna look it up.
I remember thinking how nice the clothing looked in that game. Right.
Isn't it funny how because even now, like, games look so fucking good now, but imagine what they're gonna look like in like 10 years. Like, you think it can't get any better, but it probably can. Yeah, it's so like everyone is so blocky. I'm looking at pictures right now.
Thinking about old Lara Croft's triangle boobies.
Laura Croft. Yeah, that's funny. It's funny how graphics change over the years, and you think even like when Pokemon Black and White came out, I think it was like 2011 or something like that. I remember picking that game up, and I was in high school. I was like a junior in high school in 2011, and I remember picking the game up and thinking how good it looked. I was like, man, this game looks great. And then a couple years later, X and Y came out, and that was like the first like 3D Pokemon game. So obviously that was a big step. And even at that time, in like 2013, I was like thinking back to like 2 years before that. I was like, man, I can't believe I thought Black and White looked so good. Look at this game. And now when you look back at X and Y compared to like current like Sword and Shield, it's just like a whole new ball game. So it's just funny how like games develop and things improve and stuff, and like what you think then compared to now, it's just funny to me. I like thinking about stuff like that.
I actually remember when Heavy Rain first came out and being like, oh my gosh, this is like next generation. This looks great. I look at those people now and I'm like, what in God's name?
Which one was Heavy Rain?
What's that?
Which one was Heavy Rain? I'm trying to remember which one that is.
That was the one where you played like 4 different people, and you were the main character, like you were Ethan Mars, and you were looking for your son, and your one son got hit by a car.
Is that the one by that one guy who did Detroit?
David Cage? Yes. Terrible game.
Yeah.
The game.
Yeah, I'm looking at screen capture because I never played Heavy Rain, but I'm just obviously I know what Heavy Rain is, but I'm looking at like pictures from the game.
It's bad. It's all bad.
It's funny because I typed in Google, I just typed in Heavy Rain, and I'm getting pictures of like people with umbrellas in the rain, and then pictures of the game. I guess I should have specified. That's super funny.
What's his name again?
David Cage.
Yeah.
Isn't that the game that with that one really famous like XQC clip where he was playing it and there's like a shower scene where it shows boobies or something, and he was like trying to move his camera around to because he didn't know that was a scene, I guess, and he was streaming it and he was trying to move his camera to like cover the boobs.
It's so funny because isn't it like a thing now with David Cage games where there's always like some random shower scene?
I think so.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Dave,
A man definitely developed that game, am I right? Anyway.
Can't put a woman in a game without objectifying her.
You do have a sex scene with her. It's optional. You can skip it, but you can also not.
I see.
And titties.
Well, how long have we been recording?
Just past an hour now.
I see. I think that I'm about out of things to talk about. What about you guys?
Perhaps
Lauren,
same. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Did you have anything else you'd like to bring up? Did you want to plug anything, like social media, or are you good?
Yeah, I don't think I want anyone following me.
Valid.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's very fair, and you're super valid for that. That's your decision.
I was like thinking about my usernames and stuff, and I was like, too long. You can probably find me through Taylor's stuff or Anna's stuff. That's how you could get to me. Bye.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
You want to get to Lauren, you have to go through us first.
Exactly.
Literally. No one follows me without following you guys. I get offended.
Oh my god. Anyway, yeah. So, Lauren, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We love you and we appreciate you, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to give some of your experiences and talking with us about things.
Absolutely. Thank you. I adore both of you women. Both of you inspire me constantly.
Aww.
And so I really appreciate having this opportunity.
Aw, that's so sweet.
This is very random, but because we're appreciating Lauren, I just want to say that yesterday I had drawn one of my characters for my concept class, and I very heavily based her off Lauren. And I didn't even realize it until I had shown her, and I was like, this is Lauren. This is basically Lauren. For context, the character is a monster girl with 4 arms, and she's a big lesbian who can step on anyone like a bug.
I respect her.
I love that.
And I aspire to be her.
Yeah, and if you ever want to see the art of that character, you can follow me, going right into the plug. You can follow me on Twitter at pastelvoid, PASTELV0ID, or on Twitch with the same username. Tay, would you like to plug yourself in as well?
Sure. My socials are PeachyTay, Peachietay on all social medias. You can find me there on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, what have you. So feel free. Also, I just want to plug our email again. If you guys do want to email us,
Can I do it?
Yes, Anna, you are more than welcome. If you guys would like to email us with any of your experiences, anything at all that you would like us to talk about on the podcast, anonymous or not, please feel free. Anna will give you the email right now.
The email is bigtittyladies@hotmail.com. The email is BIGTITTYLADIES@HOTMAIL.com. bigtittyladies@hotmail.com.
Exactly. So if you guys made it this far in the episode, thank you. We do appreciate. I do also want to point out. I do want to say thank you so much for all the support for the first episode. I do know we did get some feedback from our friends and stuff, and everyone seemed to really like it and appreciate it. So we appreciate you guys for listening, and thank you to all of our friends that are supporting us through this. It really does mean a lot. So thank you so much.
Again, thank you to Lauryn for coming in to share her experiences. We really appreciate it. And also thank you to Vicky for... Sorry, Lauryn.
No, it's okay. Go.
I also wanted to say thank you for Vicky for also sharing her experiences through email. I know that going back on these really negative experiences and in a hobby that you've all greatly invested in can be really hard.
Yes, thank you, Vicky. We do appreciate you talking about that with us, and we love you. So thank you so much, Vicky, as well. We appreciate it.
Mwah. And a kiss for Lauryn. Mwah.
Mwah. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back next week.
Do we all want to say bye together?
Sure.
All right. Thank
1,
you,
2.
everyone, for listening. All right, count us down, count us down. Count us down, count us down.
Okay. 1. Okay, on 3. 1, 2.